Have you noticed how the word renunciation often sounds like leaving life, even though the deeper struggle is happening entirely inside it? When people hear renunciation, they imagine distance, stepping away, giving things up, reducing life to something quieter and smaller. But most of our unrest doesn't come from having too much around us. It comes from how tightly the mind holds what it touches. You can live simply and still feel burdened. You can live actively and still feel clear. So the question quietly shifts. What exactly is being renounced? In daily life, the mind renounces very little. It carries conversations long after they end. It holds expectations beyond their usefulness. It drags yesterday into today. Even when the body rests, the mind remains busy. So withdrawal alone doesn't solve this. Silence alone doesn't resolve it. Less activity doesn't automatically bring clarity. Renunciation, in its deeper sense, is not about where you stand. It is about how you stand. You can see this clearly in ordinary situations. You finish a task, but the mind keeps evaluating it. You make a decision, but keep replaying alternatives. You receive appreciation, but immediately worry about maintaining it. Nothing external needs to be removed for tension to arise. The mind generates it internally. Renunciation as an inner state begins here, not by rejecting life, but by noticing what the mind continues to carry unnecessarily. In the Geeta, renunciation is never framed as escape. Arjuna is not asked to leave the field. He is not advised to withdraw from responsibility. The setting itself makes this clear. Renunciation is introduced remembers while standing fully within action. This matters because it shows that renunciation is not a physical movement away from life, but a psychological release within it. What is released is not action, but clinging to outcomes, clinging to identity, clinging to emotional residue. In daily work, this is easy to miss. You may work sincerely, yet constantly check how it reflects on you. You may care deeply, yet measure your worth by response. This creates a hidden dependence. You are acting, but your peace is outsourced. Renunciation as clarity means bringing peace back home. It means recognizing the precise boundary of your responsibility. Your effort belongs to you. Your sincerity belongs to you. Your presence belongs to you. Outcomes do not. Reactions do not. Timing does not. When this is seen clearly, the mind stops negotiating with what it cannot control. That stopping is renunciation, not dramatic, not announced, just clean. This clarity does not make you passive. It makes you accurate. You stop wasting energy in places where it has no effect. In relationships, this distinction is especially visible. You listen fully. You speak honestly. You show up. But you stop managing the other person's inner world. You don't preemptively adjust yourself to secure comfort. You don't suppress truth to avoid reaction. You act from clarity, not from fear of consequence. That restraint is renunciation. You haven't withdrawn from the relationship. You've withdrawn from manipulation. In the mind, this feels lighter, because manipulation requires vigilance. It requires constant monitoring. Renunciation removes that burden. In modern life, renunciation is often misunderstood as disengagement. People fear that if they stop clinging, they will stop caring. But caring and clinging are not the same. Caring is attentive. Clinging is anxious. Caring allows movement. Clinging demands permanence. Renunciation does not remove care. It removes anxiety around care. This is why renunciation as an inner state often feels like relief. Not because something was given up, but because something unnecessary was set down. Consider ambition. You may work towards something meaningful. You plan. You invest time. Renunciation does not cancel this. It changes the emotional posture. You pursue without staking your identity on arrival. You work without making the future carry your peace. This reduces inner noise. You still move forward, but without the tremor underneath. In the Geeta, renunciation and action are not opposites. They are complements. Action without renunciation creates burden. Renunciation without action creates stagnation. Together, they create steadiness. This steadiness is not dramatic. It doesn't feel detached or elevated. It feels grounded. You are where you are, doing what is yours, not carrying what is not. In inner life, this shows up as fewer replays. You don't keep revisiting moments to adjust them mentally. You don't keep rewriting conversations internally. Because when action is clear, there is nothing left to renegotiate. This is renunciation in practice, not abstaining from life, but finishing each moment cleanly. One of the biggest sources of mental fatigue is incomplete action. Saying something while holding something back, acting while doubting yourself, complying while resisting. These create fragments. Renunciation, as clarity, integrates action. It asks for honesty at the moment of doing. Not heroism, not perfection, just presence. When presence is complete, the mind naturally lets go afterward. There is no residue to hold. In this sense, renunciation is not an effortful discipline. It is the absence of unnecessary effort, the effort to control, the effort to secure, the effort to protect identity. When those efforts stop, something essential remains: engagement without strain. This is why renunciation cannot be forced. Forced renunciation becomes suppression. It tightens the mind. True renunciation relaxes it. You can feel the difference physically. Suppression feels tight. Clear renunciation feels open. One resists desire. The other understands it. In the Geeta, understanding always precedes release. Nothing is renounced blindly. Nothing is rejected out of aversion. Clarity comes first, and clarity dissolves attachment naturally. In daily life, you may notice moments like this. You care deeply about something, and suddenly see that worrying doesn't help. Not as a philosophy, as a fact, the worry falls away. You didn't renounce effort. You renounced useless tension. This is how inner renunciation works. It doesn't announce itself. It just leaves. What remains is attention. Attention without pressure. This kind of renunciation also changes how you experience pleasure and pain. You still enjoy. You still feel hurt. But the mind doesn't build a story around permanence. Pleasure is allowed to pass. Pain is allowed to move. Neither becomes identity. This is not emotional flattening. It is emotional fluidity. You are not protected from life, but you are not stuck to it either. Renunciation, as an inner state, creates space. Space between stimulus and response. Space between effort and identity. Space between experience and self-definition. In that space, choice becomes possible. Without space, reaction rules. Most of us don't need less life. We need more space within life. Renunciation provides that space, not by reducing activity, but by reducing friction. This is why people who embody this clarity often appear calm, even in movement. They are not carrying extra layers. They do what is required. They release what is not. This release is not indifference. It is respect for reality as it is. Reality moves on its own terms. Renunciation is the mind agreeing to stop arguing with that. In the Geeta, this agreement is the turning point, not belief, not doctrine, acceptance of the structure of action. Effort here, outcome elsewhere, presence now, meaning unfolds later. When this is seen, the need to withdraw from life dissolves. Life no longer feels overwhelming, not because it is controlled, but because it is no longer resisted internally. Perhaps this is the quiet correction renunciation offers. Not leaving the world, but leaving unnecessary struggle. Not giving up responsibility, but giving up ownership of what was never yours. Not becoming distant, but becoming clear. And clarity has a distinct quality. It doesn't shout. It doesn't convince. It simply allows things to be what they are, while you do what is yours to do. When renunciation is understood this way, it no longer feels like loss. It feels like alignment. And alignment feels like ease, even in effort, even in uncertainty, even in a full life. Renunciation as an inner state is not withdrawal. It is freedom within participation. And once tasted, it quietly reorganizes everything. Not by changing what you do, but by changing what you carry. And what you no longer need to carry is far more than you ever needed to give up.